Hello and thanks for joining us on Nationwide today. I'm Elizabeth Omori. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is a critical establishment and should be removed from ministerial supervision to the presidency. This is coming from the Senate Committee on Special Duties during the budget defense session of the National Emergency Management Agency. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
It was the last week of the 2023 budget defense session at the National Assembly, and the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, Mustafa Habib Ahmed, was on ground to defend the agency's 2023 budget.
Capital 774,100,000. Personnel under this head, the sum of 1,077,000,000. Overhead, the sum of 162,152,000 projected for the fiscal year 2023.
I'm sure you have tried your best, and within that your best, we want to know what leads you have done.
Special Committee on Flood, headed by Alhaji Aliko Dangote, they have started distributing items worth 1.5 billion naira.
The committee demanded to know the level of the agency's intervention in the 2022 flood and the involvement of states and local government areas emergency management agencies.
It's only National Emergency Management Agency, and I don't think you people will have the capacity, the manpower, the resources, and the logistics you need to tackle this.
I don't think your capital can go far. Well, keep on blaming you, that there is no ministerial supervision that can take care of NEMA. So I think that you now need to look at this aspect of development of manpower. We're properly trained.
The states are leaving everything in terms of disaster 100% to NEMA.
The agency made case for urgent agric intervention to enable farmers get back to farms so as to avert food scarcity. The managing director of the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, Nuruddin Rafin Dadi, defended the agency's 2023 budget of 31.26 billion naira for capital before the National Assembly Joint Committee on FEMA. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Away from budget defense, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has expressed worry over the payment of 18 days in October 2022 salaries to its members. In a statement, President of the Union, Emmanuel Osedeke, posits that the National Executive Council of the Union describes the development as unprecedented in the history of university-oriented labor relations and therefore frowns at government's attitude to reduce what they called scholars to casual workers. The union wishes to pursue positive resolutions within the ambit of the law to avoid crisis. Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has appealed to members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities to remain calm following their latest outcry over the reported half payment of their salaries by the federal government. In a statement, the Speaker noted that President Muhammad Buhari has indicated interest to wade into the latest concerns raised by the union. He made reference to current work on the 2023 Appropriations Bill, which includes 170 billion naira to provide a level of increment in the welfare package of university lecturers. The bill also includes additional 300 billion naira revitalization funds to improve the infrastructure and operations of federal universities, in addition to facilitating the adoption of elements of the University Transparency and Accountability Solution into the integrated payroll and personal information system. Gbajabiamila says the position taken by the executive that it was not obligated to pay salaries to lecturers for the time spent on strike is premised on the law and government's legitimate interest in preventing moral hazards. The federal government says 5 million Nigerians have been provided with renewable electricity generated in the off-grid sphere across the country under the Nigeria Electrification Project (NEP). A statement released on the level of implementation of the project shows that more than 900,000 solar home systems, 67 mini-grid projects, and 26 container solar energy parks for hospitals have been deployed to benefiting communities. The World Bank and African Development Bank are supporting the project with a grant of $550 million so as to boost electricity access in the country, especially with renewable energy. The implementation of the Nigeria Electrification Project, federal government says, has so far created 1,151 jobs and saved more than 200,000 tons of carbon dioxide. Rural Electrification Agency is implementing the projects. Away from electrification, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) says it has uncovered plans by some group of persons to introduce a lethal synthetic opioid, fentanyl, which is 100 times stronger than tramadol, into the Nigerian market. The agency is cautioning the public on the illicit substance, noting that it is capable of causing mass casualties among the youth population, has been targeted by the cartels. The agency, however, says all necessary assets have been deployed to monitor cartels involved in this latest threats. For security matters, the Nigerian Army is training officers in the area of strategic leadership to enhance their operations. This is the focus of the Leadership and Strategic Studies Course 1 2022 organized by the Nigerian Army Resource Center, Abuja. The complex and dynamic nature of emerging security threats, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, noted, requires the regular development of officers to enhance their coordination of single joint operations.
The era of illiterate military personnel is gone, and the 21st century is a literate and highly computerized period. All officers, including the Executive Commission, must therefore possess the requisite qualification to remain relevant to the system. Every commander wants to be successful and will naturally source for those who can assist him to succeed.
Director, Army Resource Center, advised those residing at the grassroots to assist the military with intelligence in ongoing fight against criminality.
We are clamoring for all Nigerians involved in the security architecture, at least intelligence gathering. So, what happens within the armed forces itself, especially the army? That's the sense of the course. To have a balanced training, particularly at the operational level, for everybody, so at least they will present whatever it is and understand the issue.
35 Army officers are participating in the program. Meanwhile, the Cross River State Police Command is soliciting understanding and partnership from key stakeholders in the state in a renewed vigor to counter criminality for a peaceful conduct of the 2023 electioneering activities in the state. Commissioner of Police Sulaiman Balarabe said this when he played host to journalists in the state. Ode Alenyo reports.
Now, the high level of criminality, which was the case in Cross River State, has to a large extent been checked by the sting operation of the State Police Command. This feat is what the new Commissioner of Police, Suleiman Balarabe, says will be sustained with renewed vigor to align with the Inspector General of Police vision to tackle criminalities professionally and in line with international best practice. The Commissioner solicits partnership with the media and critical stakeholders in Cross River State to safeguard lives and property of residents.
I wish to solicit enhanced and robust partnership from members of the public, all existing institutions and corporate bodies to safeguard lives and properties of every citizen alive.
The state chairman of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Unsa Gil, says it is in the best interest of the media and the public to collaborate with the place for a crime-free society.
We trust the capacity of Nigerian police. I want to commend the effort of the police command and urge them to do even more.
He applauded police for curbing criminalities in the state. In Calabar, Ode Alenyo, NTA News.
In the face of multiple climate shocks, Nigeria is sourcing international support to ramp up finance for climate change adaptation plans and disaster risk reduction initiatives. It is a drive led by Nigeria's Ministers of Finance and Humanitarian Affairs at the United Nations Climate Conference in Egypt. Olenge Fineface reports.
And other humanitarian crises across the country.
We address these issues, which is the adaptation aspect of it, whereby we support people to regain back their livelihoods. We support people to get adequate shelter as a result of the displacement.
Beyond sourcing funds to respond and cope with the climate extreme, Nigeria hopes to break through cumbersome conditions inhibiting access to available finance from the international community.
We're setting up a global sustainability financing standard, and Nigeria is one of the early adopters, and we're leading in this regard. The objective is to be able to provide relevant disclosures in financial statements that will help us to attract investment finance for climate-friendly projects.
Minister of Environment Mohammed Abdullahi also engaged the President of the Islamic Development Bank on opportunities for improving climate finance support to Nigeria.
Climate Change Council is supposed to develop what we call a national action plan. It needs expertise, it needs consultancy, it needs a lot of support, from development banks like yours.
The country is also ramping private sector investments in country to fund adaptation programs. From Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, Olenge Fineface, NTA News.
The need for effective synergy among financial intelligence units in the fight against crimes and terrorism financing has been re-emphasized at the first high-level summit of the FIU's GABA member states held in Abuja. Speakers at the forum unanimously agreed that the impact of crimes and terrorism is visibly affecting the growth of different economies of member states in the West African region. You're watching Nationwide on NTA. Time now to join Adeola in Lagos for more reports. Hello, Adeola.
Until every
by the Central Bank of Nigeria to redesign the nation's currency will not only control currency circulation outside the banking system, it will also enhance monetary policy control as a measure to further control inflation. President of the National Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, Nasima Ide John Udiagbala, backed the CBN's currency initiatives at a media interactive forum on the fourth quarter state of the economy in Lagos. Musa Toliat reports.
The fourth quarter interactive forum of the National Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture focused on the performance of the economy and what needs to be done to effectively tackle unemployment, insecurity, increased interest rates, climate change issues and energy supply in the country. However, the recent announcement by the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, to redesign Naira notes by December 15, 2022 received the backing of Nasima at the forum.
Nasima wishes to commend the Apex Bank for this development aimed at controlling the quantum of Naira in circulation. There is no doubt that this will significantly improve electoral transparency and reduce corruption arising from possible vote trading during electioneering campaigns towards 2023 elections. Improve use of technology in our banking system and enhance growing adoption of cashless money transfers.
Away from the imminent currency redesign, the apex body of Chambers of Commerce is concerned about the rising inflation rate put at 20.52% as at August 2022. Servicing the increasing foreign debt and domestic borrowings have also been described as unsustainable given the dwindling government revenue.
If we repair 4 of our refineries, diesel cost will come down. Exactly. You don't need foreign exchange to import diesel again. About 23% of our foreign exchange is used in importation of fuel.
Nasima recommends that the federal government addresses multiple exchange rates while conversing that Nigerian businesses be adequately supported with special interventions in forex availability and enhanced infrastructural development in the country. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Now to the judiciary. The police witness in the murder case of Usifo Ataga has informed the court that the first defendant, Chidinma Ojukwu, was not in any way induced during interrogation by the police to make valuable statements. Annie Daniels has details.
The first defendant, Chidinma Ojukwu, suspected to have murdered late CEO of Super TV, Usifo Ataga, claimed that the statements she made to the police during interrogation were not voluntary. However, the police witness, DSP Bamidele Olusegun, attached to the homicide section of the state CID, Panti, informed the court that after arrests of the first defendant on the 23rd of June 2021, she was taken to the office of the Deputy Commissioner of Police, where she made statements about her knowledge of the murder case in the presence of other police officers. Afterwards, they proceeded to a bigger hall with a podium and fully air-conditioned. And before the interrogation, the police had given the first defendant, Chidinma Ojukwu, water and food bought from an eatery as she requested. And that Ms. Ojukwu, after giving confessional statements, was asked to put down same on paper. She agreed, but it was observed that her handwriting wasn't legible. Then she was asked to rewrite in capital letters, which prompted the first defendant, Chidinma Ojukwu, to ask that the police assist her in writing the statement. DSP Bamidele informed the court that nothing less or more was written outside Chidinma's statement. Neither was she coerced, intimidated, induced, or harassed in any way to say anything involuntarily. DSP Bamidele added that even while in custody, Chidinma was allowed to move around the premises, entertain visitors, and saw them off. The case has been adjourned to the 10th of November 2022 in Lagos. Annie Daniels, NTA.
That's a bit from Lagos for now, but do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. Nationwide will continue with Suleiman in Kaduna after this break. To stay with us.
That is Adiola there in our Lagos Network Center. Good afternoon and welcome to Kaduna Network Center. Governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in Katsina State, Dikko Umar Radda, has identified medium and small-scale enterprises, commercial agriculture, and holistic approach to ending insecurity in Katsina State as critical components of his campaign manifesto. He was speaking in Kaduna at an interactive session with indigents of Katsina and Daura residing in Kaduna State. Umar Ajingi reports.
The interactive session was organized to give the APC governorship candidate an opportunity to unveil some of his manifestos to the people of Katsina and Daura in diaspora.
To have an opportunity for him to explain his programs and his manifesto if eventually elected.
Dikko Umar Radda told the gathering that the global economic meltdown makes it compelling for him to look inward to domesticate the state economic blueprint through the invigoration of small businesses in Katsina State. He noted that the era of overdependence on Federation account for revenue is over, hence the need to provide alternative.
We need to also address the issue of revenue generation to block all the leakages in government. Blocking leakages in government will enable you to have enough resources.
Speakers advised the APC governorship candidate to be more pragmatic in changing the fortunes of Katsina State. It is expected that Katsina and Daura community in Kaduna State will articulate their position for onward submission to APC governorship candidate in Katsina State. In Kaduna, Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
The ongoing quest for local government autonomy in the country is feasible only when corruption is tackled headlong and putting a stop to overbearing influence of state governors or local government administration. Speaking at a maiden lecture in memory of late Professor Shehu Dalhatu of the Department of Administration, Bayero University Kano said granting autonomy to the third tier of government is desirable. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports that the lecture was put together by Aminu Kano Center for Democratic Studies, Mumbai House.
Government autonomy is one of the contentious issues which defies solution in the just concluded 1999 constitutional review by the National Assembly. Only few out of 36 states of the Federation consented to grant local governments autonomy. The most controversial aspect of the debate is states and local governments' joint accounts, which analysts say is the root of the refusal to allow the third tier of government to function effectively. This set the tone of discussion at the late Professor Shehu Dalhatu Memorial Lecture, which experts in local government administration bemoaning the misfortune of local government. A renowned professor of political science, Kamilu Sanifage, whose paper chronicled the evolution of local government system and reasons for having such arrangement to bring people closer, said, local government administration is undergoing turbulent period.
We are still having the pre-colonial or colonial mentality of local government. One of its source of revenue is bicycle licensing and others. We have passed that stage, so we should look at a more credible source of revenue for the local government.
Other speakers called on President Muhammadu Buhari and National Assembly to do all within their constitutional powers to ensure local government autonomy before the end of their tenure. Muhammad Ali, NTA News.
With that report is back to our Abuja studio for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Sulaiman. Again, Federal High Court sitting in Gusau has nullified Zamfara State PDP governorship primary election that produced Dr. Dauda Lawal Dare as gubernatorial candidate of the party for the 2023 general elections. The presiding judge, Justice Aminu Bapa, also rules that PDP cannot field candidate for the 2023 governorship election in the state. The All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Council Youth Wing has inaugurated North Central Youth Campaign Body ahead of the 2023 election. Victories at all levels. Abubakar Kwanga reports.
The inauguration of this high-level youth campaign body signaled the beginning of the rigorous task that lies ahead of North Central Youth for the Tinubu Shetima's ticket. The message here is simple and the areas to cover are familiar. These are the words of the Director of Youth Mobilization, North Central APC Presidential Campaign Council.
The North Central happens to be, I think, the third largest geopolitical zone in Nigeria. It has a very teeming youthful population, a population that is willing to go out there and vote for someone who understands the need to do what? Have youth key into what? The climate change agenda. That is the next biggest economy. We have a president who understands cryptocurrency, understands that we are in a nanotechnology age. So what else do you want again? So the charge is very simple. Go out there, get out the votes for our principal and have him emerge as president in 2023.
He says the North Central APC youth organizations are awake to their political responsibilities of ensuring that only a candidate with vast experience and capacity is given support, and Tinubu is the man to beat. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
As campaigns ahead of the 2023 general elections gear up, the Labour Party maintains its stance on issue-based campaigns. Members of the party reaffirmed this while discussing its activities on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria. Abdusalam Jibril reports.
It has been over a week now since the Labour Party officially flagged off its campaign in Lafia, Nasarawa State. Members of the party on Good Morning Nigeria insist that Labour Party's movement intends to revamp the country's vibrant sectors from consumption to a productive nation if elected.
Labour Party campaign is going to be centered on issues, and if you have followed all our campaigns, discussions, literatures, they are centered on the issues of the nation, issues that will move the country from consumption to production.
The only transaction that is happening in the Labour Party is trusts.
That is the only thing we're transacting there. Trust and expectations and delivery. That's all.
While speaking on several issues, members urge for decentralization of power generation, harnessing Nigerians' human and natural resources, as well as creating an enabling environment for businesses to thrive.
We still have issues with border closure. We can draw a straight line again from the policies of this government and where we are with the economy. Border closure, the forex restrictions, and these two parallel markets that we're having are creating real issues for Nigerians.
To this end, we are going to employ renewable energies and then decentralize the process of power generation.
They also noted that the party's presidential candidate, Peter Obi, has been recognized and accepted nationally, and the party is poised to take power come 2023. In Abuja, Abdul Salam Jubril, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the national chairman and presidential candidate of Action Democratic Party, Yabagi Sani, says Kano and Nigeria deserve the best of leadership, which his party is out to provide. He stated this in Kano while constituting the new executives of the party in the state.
The dissolution of former executive of Kano State chapter of the party and reconstitution of the new one, the ADP national chairman Yabagi Sani said, is to reflect on the new development in the party. Shortly after swearing in the new executives led by Bashir Arae, Yabagi Sani described the governorship candidacy of Shaban Ibrahim Sharada as a good omen to the party, saying that since he joined the party, its spread has increased. He said Kano, as the most populous state in Nigeria, deserves the best to harness its abundant human and material resources, adding that the party will not let the electorate down.
This country is so blessed that when you look outside, give Nigeria a chance. It's always number one or a very good number two. So that's why we believe that if you have the right caliber of people that have the knowledge.
The presidential candidate of the ADP is hopeful that the party in Kano will win the governorship race and the presidential election, owing to the strategic place the state occupies in determining who wins the national election. In Kano, Amin Umar, NTA News.
In other news, a high court of the Federal Capital Territory has dismissed the allegations of fraud and money laundering filed against a businessman, Benedict Peters, for being incompetent. The presiding judge, Justice Olukayode Adeniyi, held that the British and Nigerian investigating agencies who investigated the claimants failed to establish their claims that assets seized from him in Nigeria and Britain actually belonged to former Petroleum Minister Desiani Alison Madueke. The court awarded 200 million naira damages jointly against the prosecuting agencies in Nigeria and UK for victimizing Peters and restrained them from infringing on his personal liberty. Time now to join Agatha in Benin for more reports. Hello, Agatha.
Hello, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining us in Benin. Ahead of the fast approaching festive season, a one-day zonal conference for special marshals of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, is held in Benin, attended by special marshals from Edo, Delta, and Anambra states. The conference afforded participants the opportunity to assess, re-strategize on the activities of the previous year, and plan the way forward. Paul Omukago has the report.
Zero tolerance for road crashes has been the driving force and focus in the operations of the Federal Road Safety Corps. The fourth quarter of every year usually records high volume of human and vehicular movement, especially along the Edo, Delta, and Anambra corridor. For instance, the last quarter of 2021 across Nigeria recorded more than 11,800 road traffic crashes, with 10,171 out of this number reported injured and 1,652 deaths. This special marshal conference with the team, the responsibility of special marshals in the face of a new administration in the Corps, seeks to eliminate fatalities on our highways. Acting Corps Marshal, in a message read by Deputy Corps Marshal in charge of special duties and external relations, urged the special marshals to work hard for better solutions to the increasing challenges of traffic management across the country.
There's still work to be done, and the fatalities on our road are still unabated.
We are expected to exhibit the highest level of discipline and courtesy.
Goodwill messages from dignitaries and special guests harped on the need for training and retraining of volunteers to fortify the complementary role of special marshals.
I think what we should do, we should just keep supporting them.
Investitures of new special marshals and award of excellence to outstanding Federal Road Safety Corps officials preceded the plenary and technical session. In Benin, Paulo Mukago, NTA News.
Into politics now. As the 2023 general elections draw near, some Nigerian women in diaspora have joined the call for election of credible candidates with integrity and capacity to enthrone good governance in the country. This was at a town hall meeting organized by Diaspora Women for Good Governance to interact with candidates of all political parties in Edo State. Jude Abugu has the report.
The town hall, which sought to imbue in the consciousness of the candidates sense of accountability, integrity, and transparency, also had representatives of political parties as participants. Keynote speakers identified integrity and accountability as the instruments for good governance in Nigeria. They blamed corruption and bad leadership for the inability of successive administration to build a virile egalitarian nation despite the nation's huge human and natural resources.
It is important to note that it is difficult for democracy to thrive in the context of severe crisis of confidence that afflicts governance and doubtful integrity of today's leaders in the public sector. The NTA that spends about 500 million every year to run the NDA returns to the federal costs only 5 million every year.
The organizers urged every woman in Nigeria to help bring issues of accountability and good governance on the front burner until they are achieved at every level of government in Nigeria.
Let the candidate know that the people matters. The people interest comes before theirs, comes before the political party. So this is not business as usual.
We believe that we've got the talent, we've got the skills, we've got the manpower, woman power to actually move forward for good governance.
Representatives of political parties and candidates commended the diaspora women for their commitment to addressing issues affecting the nation. In Benin, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
That ends our package. Sedia in Sokoto has the next line of reports for Nationwide, but that's after this break. To stay with us.
In Sokoto. Available statistics from the United Nations indicates that violence against women and girls is spreading in Sokoto, with 32.8% of every married woman aged 15 to 49 experiencing emotional, physical, and sexual violence committed by their partners and husbands. State Minister of Budget and National Planning Clem Agbal disclosed this when he led a high-level delegation on courtesy visit to the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar. Sheikh Muhammad Detti has details.
The delegation is in Sokoto for a 2-day visit on a high-level monitoring mission as one of its project sits for the purpose of aligning its field objectives. The minister lamented that the level of violence against women and girls has adverse effect on the economic growth and development. Such violence, he said, don't allow them to contribute their quota to the country's economic growth. The minister maintained that activities of United Nations are cardinal to the economy of Nigeria, hence the need to support the drive. He appreciated the government and people of Sokoto State for their support to domesticate the state child protection law and violence against persons prohibition law.
Women, children and youth is one of the key priority areas for Nigeria, as encapsulated in the National Development Plan.
Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar frowned at the attitude of violence against women and girls. He said though Nigeria is blessed with a lot of laws, implementing them is the major challenge. He called for a proactive approach to end the trend of violence against women and girls in Nigeria through educating the girl child. The Sultan disputed the notion that Sokoto is an Islamic world where girls are not allowed to acquire education. He informed the gathering that the caliphate itself was founded on knowledge, and the caliphate places high premium on educating women. He gave example with Nana Asmau, the daughter of the founder of Sokoto Caliphate, Sheikh Usman bin Fodio, who was a scholar, administrator, and leader in educating the women.
That's why our drive here to promote what our forefathers did and continue to work to save our women and save our children.
Other members of the high-level delegation spoke on their contribution to the success of the mission. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
The 2023 National Population and Housing Census is intended to ascertain the aggregate data of the citizenry that will assist governments in designing good policies and programs. These were the views of stakeholders at a summit organized by the National Population Commission Sokoto office. Sheikh Muhammad Datti again reports.
The objective of the exercise is to compile the localities demarcated via the enumeration, area demarcation, and location on interactive maps. The Federal Commissioner, National Population Commission Sokoto Office, Sister Abdullahi Datijo, describes the compendium of localities in census taking as a tool for data dissemination and national development. The 2023 Population and Housing Census results will be released to the lowest of the census entities, which could be as small as a camp. It will also start as a distinct population cluster in which the inhabitants live in neighboring sets of living quarters.
All what we have is there, and we have submitted it to them for them to have an opportunity to sit down within the next 2 weeks, look at it, whether the spelling or whether we omitted any locality, let them return it back to us, then we sit together with them. So we thought this is the best way to do census.
Speakers are of the view that the exercise will go a long way in ascertaining tentative data of birth and death rates of the citizens, calling on all to participate and ensure proper coverage of the exercise to achieve its goals.
All what they are doing it with us. We are giving them moral and financial support.
High point of the event was the official handing over of local government area localities list to the local government chairman by the commission. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
And that's it from Sokoto for now. Nationwide continues with Elizabeth in Abuja.
Thank you, Sadia. The Nigerian Television Authority and Nigeria Health Watch, a non-governmental organization, have committed to a partnership that will push advocacy towards greater financial commitment of the Nigerian government in the health sector. Ekene Ndulwe tells us more.
Issues of poor infrastructure, inadequate health workers and medications have become common narrative associated with Nigeria's primary health system.
But those solutions are across every spectre of our
Vivian Ihekwazu is the managing director, Nigeria Health Watch, and improving funding in the health sector is the target of her organization.
So part of the work we also do is ensure that all the health programs are adequately funded. We know that our health outcomes are not the best. So channels like NTA are critical in terms of working with NGOs, working with multilateral partners to ensure that our health sector is adequately funded.
It is a noble agenda, says Dr. Damian Bayi, who is representing the NTA Director General at the meeting, promising that NTA will provide the platform to effect positive policy change in the sector.
We'll partner with you, we'll collaborate with you, and we'll provide our platforms for your activities, for you to showcase to Nigerians your activities.
The partnership has been forged, and as the delegation from the Nigeria Health Watch takes their leave, there is no doubt in their minds that this is a win for the Nigerian public. Ekene Ndulwe, NTA News.
The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization is partnering global key players in education to develop a new education and skills training program for Nigerian youth. The initiative is to operate in line with the August Project Category 2.9 UNESCO Ref initiative. 15 countries across the globe committed to the attainment of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals before the year 2030 to transform the world. Critical actors in Nigeria's education sector are strategizing on how the nation can attain SDG 4 through global learning exchange initiatives.
The youth population being the most active users of the social media platforms, therefore require some support towards encouraging the use of digital spaces to promote peaceful coexistence and foster development.
So we're excited about what we can bring to the table. Strong relationships with universities, expertise in technology.
With a new vista by UNESCO, Nigerian youth will have access to a variety of global educational and skills development programs. By this, a platform for exploring their goals at their own pace has been created.
Enhancing international support for TAP projects will strengthen the triangular cooperation towards effective implementation of the targeted capacity building programs for the youth in Nigeria.
To cover areas like cybersecurity, engineering management, digital technology and design, security and compliance, leadership, health sciences, allied health.
The Read and Earn Federation for UNESCO is also in tune with the actualization of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Now, towards enhancing impactful teaching and learning at polytechnics and ensuring professionalism, the National Board for Technical Education has unbundled the curriculum of Higher National Diploma in Communications Department. Hadiza Mohammed reports.
The National Board for Technical Education supervises, regulates and oversees educational programs offered by the technical institutions at secondary, polytechnics and monotechnic levels through an accreditation process.
We have had some meetings and we have agreed that we should unbundle mass communication, especially at the higher national diploma level.
I've made attempt to unbundle mass communication into 3 various professional sequences. 1 is journalism and media studies, 2 is strategic communication and media studies, and 3 is film and multimedia production. So the one we are here for is strategic communication, and these are people that wants to be their career in public relations, advertising.
Collaborating partners believe streamlining the child right into the curriculum will help in inclusion of reportage and also give room for specialization in strategic communication and media studies.
We're working with them to see that child rights reporting as a course is mainstreamed into the curriculum of MBT for mass communication, and then also the general studies, the GNS studies for child rights education.
But now with it, when it is bundled, then there will be specialization. Man studying broadcast will focus on broadcast and specialize on it as a profession.
Special Assistant Ibrahim Bashir, who represented the Executive Secretary, National Board for Technical Education, at the closing ceremony, thanked the resource persons, Federal Ministry of Information and Development partners for their commitment to the exercise, which he says will go a long way in equipping the students with the right knowledge to compete with their counterparts globally. Outcome of the meeting will soon be implemented in polytechnics across the country. In Kano, Hadiza Muhammad, NTA News.
The need for parents and guardians to inculcate moral values in the younger ones has been described as the backbone of societal development. This was the view of Islamic scholars at the Quranic graduation ceremony of Ulul Albab Islamic School, Daura. Various speakers noted the importance of Islamic and Western education, calling on parents and other stakeholders to do more towards achieving the objectives of combined education.
I feel very happy as a father
to have your children, not only that they can read the Holy Quran, but they memorize it. So we congratulate them and we pray to Almighty Allah to see that this opportunity we get will take us to Jannat al-Firdaus.
And we want to thank the school for being able to train the students and then organize this graduation ceremony. So we really appreciate what they have done. And then for the graduates, we pray to them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them the opportunity to further understand what they have been taught and then they put it in practice.
Family members and well-wishers such as the NTA family were not left behind in celebrating with the graduates. The likes of Umar Lawal Lalu are optimistic that memorizing Quran will give them an edge in their pursuit of Western education. The National Population Commission is making efforts at ensuring a conducive atmosphere for the smooth conduct of the 2023 census. This was brought to the fore at a two-day state-level workshop on compendium of localities on the 2023 population and housing census in Ado-Ekiti. Olubukola Aduwo reports.
The event, which is a major milestone in the journey towards the first digital census in Nigeria, provides opportunity to engage critical stakeholders in Ekiti State with the aim of gathering positive feedback, invaluable cooperation and support. The Federal Commissioner in charge of Ekiti State, Ayodeji Ajayi, who identified the importance of demographic data for development planning and concrete improvement in the living standard of the people, says the workshop is to ensure that the disaggregation of the 2023 population and housing census at the localities is done accurately and in an acceptable manner. Stakeholders expressed positive disposition to all activities towards ensuring a conducive atmosphere for the smooth conduct of the 2023 census.
Our role as partners in this exercise is to ensure that all stakeholders from house to house are captured and they are counted.
Participants were of the view that the workshop will go a long way in strengthening collaboration with key stakeholders, engendering trust, and encouraging full participation of everyone for the success of the census. In Ado-Ekiti, Olubukola Aduwo, NTA News.
Nationwide today. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to always take action against rape and rapists. Good evening.